Welcome to the Thrive Tribe podcast presented by Jarvis Hall. The Thrive Tribe is the fitness community of Real Elite Fitness Company, where we share real stories and real results based on the 4 pillars of fitness. That's movement, nutrition, mobility, and recovery. Come and thrive with us. On today's episode, we'll discuss my fitness journey and why I started the Thrive Tribe podcast. I started the Thrive Tribe podcast to cultivate a community of fitness journeys so we can share stories, share actionable tips, and really discuss, progressive ways of achieving any fitness goal. And we start there with the 4 pillars. Again, that's movement, nutrition, mobility, and recovery. And the point of this podcast is to really motivate and to really inspire you to have practical steps achieving a goal and to hold yourself accountable and to show yourself enough grace while you're accomplishing those goals. My fitness journey started in 2008, the fall of 2008. And I found my mom's Tybo 8-minute workout videos. And I put that in every day after school, and I did 50 push-ups behind it. And each week I would increase the amount of push-ups that I did to kind of track my progress. And I started it because I really got tired of dealing with insecurities of weight issues, of being overweight as a child. Children are mean, so I was getting picked on. And I was like, when I become an adult and I have access to equipment and exercises, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to really start targeting my fitness goal. I started to see results probably 30 days after I started my initial journey. So it was a lot of start and stops, but when I really look at when I dedicated myself to the process, the first 30 days, I just jogged, and I was jogging 2 to 3 miles every day. And so I will alternate that with the amount of times I was jogging. And I started to see progress. My friends started to see that I was going frequently, getting more confident, and starting to shed some weight. So when I first started, my nutrition was out of whack. But here's the thing, I was in denial about it. I thought I was eating good. I was like, I'm not overeating. But I started to do research and development, and I realized that I wasn't eating to maximize my fitness goals. I was just eating based on portion, that helped. It didn't maximize my results. So what I learned is that, over time, that my nutrition has to truly fuel the movements that I'm learning, I'm developing, and, adding to my regimen along the way. The thing is, I had several examples of what I wanted to look like and what I wanted to achieve. And like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I'd had 2 roommates. I was blessed with 2 roommates that were already in their fitness journey and had a lot of success, a lot of previous success. And I really admired their lifestyle, what they put in, how they worked, how they progressed. And I just had that situation living with me, and I had those examples living with me in-house, so I was able to capture certain things that I wasn't doing correctly, as far as adding more vegetables into my diet, eating the right amount of protein based on the amount of weight I'm lifting. So these things all came into play, and they were real life examples that I was able to use as motivation and, guidance through my fitness journey. So when I first started my journey, like I stated, is that I started running. I started jogging. Let me say that. I started jogging every day because I knew that cardio was a way to eliminate body fat. And I just got more comfortable. And the biggest thing was getting comfortable with the whole environment of the gym, because at that time I was terrified of the weight room because I didn't know how to use the machines. I didn't want to embarrass myself. So I started just jogging every day. And then I took 2 classes, personal conditioning and beginner weightlifting, so that I could learn about different tools and exercises, and also alternative exercises that I could use in the gym. So, of course, that made me naturally more comfortable, and I started adding weightlifting and cardio a part of my regimen. Now, I did not master nutrition at the time, but that's something that I slowly began to develop over time based on, trial and error. And once I hit the age of 30, I am 32. I'll be 33 at the end of the month on 6/28. Once I hit my 30s, it was apparent to me that I needed to start stretching because I was going to a massage therapist and a chiropractor, and they told me half of your problem is that you don't stretch. And I started adding recovery and cool downs as a part of my fitness routine. And that helped me develop a solid foundation as far as tracking my goals and what I need to do to improve my performance. What I would tell myself or a person that's starting their fitness journey is to look at the 4 pillars for an example. So look at your movement, and movement comes in a form of activity, chores, exercise, all of these different things. Any output that you're using for energy, you want to use that for your movement, and you want to actually analyze that, right? The second thing is, what is my input? So what am I putting into my body? How am I eating? How much am I eating? How frequently am I eating? Those are just things to start becoming aware of. Another thing is your mobility, because the mobility is going to dictate the outcome of your performance. So if you've been squatting or you've been jogging, how can I do this more effectively without the risk of injury and longevity with this performance task? And the third one, the last one is recovery. How can I restore the system? How can I balance out my nervous system and endocrine system so that it's able to maximize growth and performance along the way? And honestly, for me, recovery was the one I had to learn the most patience with, because that's where you have to give yourself grace in the process. And we're so movement oriented once we start hitting goals. So the recovery is, the counter to that. It helps you stay balanced with your movement and hitting your performance goals. So my personal success story was honestly wearing clothes that I was able to buy. For an example, I always wanted to wear Hollister and Abercrombie and all of that when I was in high school, but the largest size was a 36, and I just couldn't fit it, just based on the way my body was made and just way how I felt about myself. So that was a personal goal, really getting into clothes that I wanted to wear and letting them fit on my body how I wanted them to fit comfortably. And so that was my first personal goal. I always wanted to be in a size 34 and be able to feel confident. And once I was able to hit that goal, that really started the trend of me hitting other goals. So I was just like, well, I want to be able to be comfortable in a tank top. Well, actually, I want to be comfortable with not wearing a shirt. And in 2018 was my first shirtless summer. And that was huge for me. And that boosted my self-esteem, how I felt about myself, how much I trusted myself. And these were life-changing things for me. I became a sense of motivation for people around me. I had known anything about fitness prior to my journey. And the fact that I had achieved a level of success and now became a example and creating impact based on a result that I accomplished. So in 2018, on the cusp of 2019, I had a mentor during the time to tell me that if you want to start and you want to start out as a 10, you're going to wait forever to do that. So he explained that if you're a 1 or a 2 and you become a 2 at the skill, now you can teach 1s. Once you become a 3, you can teach 2s and 1s, so on and so forth. So that really gave me the confidence that, hey, no matter where I'm at and at my level of success, I'm able to create value to another person, because that's a journey in itself, saying, hey, is what I'm doing valuable to other people? And what does that look like? And how do I express that? So I asked myself those questions. It was just a wake up call for me once I had that conversation with my mentor. And in 2019, I ended up creating Real Elite Fitness Company. And that's where it started. So for my first success story was my best friend, is my best friend, D'Angelo. And D'Angelo lost over 50 pounds during COVID. So this was 2020. And we did this with absolutely, bare minimum equipment and just body exercises and just practicing movement, nutrition, mobility, and recovery and analyzing that. And that formula worked just like it worked for me, it worked for him. And at that point, I knew I had something because it was a feasible way to communicate very complex tasks to an individual and for a person to apply this to their lifestyle with longevity. So that was my first success story. So personally and professionally, 2020 and the presentation of COVID really changed the whole landscape of how I worked out, because at this point, until 2020, I never worked out outside of a gym. So learning how to accomplish a fitness goal outside of the gym was very humbling and very new and scary at the same time. While I was doing that, I had to learn how to pivot a business from a physical location to getting to people, still giving them an in-person training, but maneuvering around those factors. So what I did was I pivoted into a mobile fitness company. So I would start at 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 p.m. I would have appointments lined up and I would drive from house to house, meeting in living rooms of this house with my mask on. They have their mask on, 6 feet apart, and really learning how to maneuver that space, because emotionally, physically, that was very, very challenging, but it pushed me to be able to think about my business in a different way and to provide service to people no matter what the conditions are. So currently, the whole mindset of fitness has changed. At first, fitness was, in my opinion, in my experience, it was kind of presented as a leisure activity. But when COVID came, it became a very big health scare, intentionality. People started focusing on, I need to improve my health. Health is truly wealth. And that really impacts now the clientele that I attract, because when I'm assessing clients, I can now get right to what their blockages are, what's preventing them from getting started, what do they need to be motivated. And all of these things are much more efficient since the awareness of health has been streamlined since COVID. So the first thing is we will go through the first competencies. And a part of my business and Real Elite Fitness Company is that we have wellness orientations or performance analysis. And the first thing is, what information do we need to figure out? So that's goal setting. What do you want to accomplish along this journey? How do you want that to look? What time frame are we looking at? So that gives me, as an exercise professional, enough resources and information to figure out what kind of program I need to create for you. The second thing is we need to find out what exercises are appropriate for you. We need to find out what you're comfortable doing, what you enjoy doing, and how you enjoy moving. That's going to give us the right tools to be able to navigate the fitness plan. The third thing is that we're going to put all of that information and tools into a system, a streamlined, effective system that you can implement into your life, whether you're working out before work, after work, on break, however we need to incorporate that into your life is going to be the effective system. The last thing is tracking. So we need to be able to create tracking and accountability along the way so that we can pivot our results and we can pivot our performance so that we can come to better outcomes. So practically, I would say start with the end in mind. So what your goal is, what you're comfortable doing. How can we realistic do this in a system, and what tracking programs are we going to implement so that we stay on task? So on the Thrive Tribe podcast, we will be going through stories of success in general. And the foundation of success will be fitness, because once you start your fitness journey, you truly start other journeys in your life because it spills over into that. So for me personally, starting my fitness journey, I was a student, and then I went from a student to a business owner. I also had lost and I grieved during my fitness journey. I was in relationships. So all of these different all of these different components come together so that we can thrive and understand what thriving is on an objective level, and understanding where we're lacking grace during that process. So the type of guests that I would have will be business owners, will be students, will be influencers, will be creators, all of these people that have stories of some type of success and actionable tips, and a lot of information that you can take away from to apply it to your life. So as I was building my business, I started hitting success. Like, I had my initial transformation, and then I had sequential transformation after that. And what happened is that I kept repeating myself, and it hit me that I needed a community to be able to talk to be able to give value to. And I thought it was going to be a newsletter, but that didn't organically come out. And I was like, I have to set up the infrastructure. I got to start this. I got to promote it. And I just wasn't connecting initially with it as far as what I wanted to accomplish. As I did more research, the idea came to me, hey, I could start a podcast where we have a visual and audio aspect of a person getting to know me, getting to understand my story, my journey, and understanding what type of people are a part of this thriving community. And this is a way that I could house a community and really add culture, because I'm from Memphis and culture is really big. And so I was like, let's start, showing thriving lifestyles from Memphis, from the city, from just different sectors of the city, so that we can be able to thrive together, share stories, insights, and really promote culture of winning and just thriving in life. So Memphis, good, bad, or indifferent, Memphis is authentic. And so Memphis taught me the power of authenticity and living in your authentic truth. So here we deal with so many different subcultures within our southern, urban feel. We have so many subcultures in the city, and creators is a big aspect of it, because the art thrives here. This is a gym for art. And I was like, we need an outlet. We need an appropriate outlet for that. And Memphis has really shaped my perspective with working with creators, collaborating with creators, hearing the stories of my different clients that live here, successful careers, successful families, love stories. All of these things has inspired me from the city. And honestly, the grit and grind, if I can survive here in Memphis, I feel like I can survive anywhere else and thrive. And so Memphis has played a major role, in my success and this Thrive Tribe. I really see the Thrive Tribe expanding, especially with the guests and the influencers that come through. I've been talking about the Thrive Tribe to different people, and I've been getting a lot of exciting feedback from it, which further motivates me to continue to build. Everything is intentional. Everything is authentic. Everything is in the benefit of me sharing value and creating more value from my guests, and hopefully more events that we'll have on the Thrive Tribe, and to come together to, make this successful. I don't have any picture perfect idea of what it's going to be, but I'm going to lead with intentionality and in good spirit and a great heart placement, that it's going to be impactful and it's going to be very successful. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, how I implement my health into my business journey is that I take a moment to understand what I want everything to look and feel like. So if I have a goal to attract 10 more clients and work with 10 more clients, over the next couple of weeks. Then I know that, hey, I need to make sure that I'm getting adequate amount of rest. I need to make sure that I stay hydrated, make sure that I'm eating on some type of schedule, and make sure that I'm moving at least 30 minutes a day. And those are just based on, that's like the first aid kit. Like, you have to make sure that your nervous system, which is the electricity in your body, and the endocrine system, which is the chemicals in your body, are at some type of balance so that you're able to build on that as a foundation. Anytime you have a disruption in one of those four pillars, it's like a tire. It's like tires on a car. If you're driving towards a destination and you have one low tire or a flat tire, that's going to affect every other pillar. And it's the same way. If your health is out of order, your business, you're going to see some opportunity in your business for growth. And your health really keeps you on track as far as what your results are looking like, what your recovery looking like, and and just how focused you are to go. So it's those two relationships are, when you're achieving a goal, are very